I just woke up from a long dream that stretched many years, during which I thought I was awake. And in this dream, I dreamt that I was being victimized by life, that the things that were happening to me were happening to me, and that the innocence that I am was somehow lost along the way. I began to believe that circumstances in my life defined who I was, defined what was possible for me. And I came to believe that the only way for me to free myself was to change the circumstances and the people around me. I had this sense that if I could only just explain, if I could only just clarify, if I could only just lay out the facts, that suddenly I would be redeemed. Suddenly it would all release like, oh, that was just a big misunderstanding. I now see who you are. I remember. I'm so sorry. That type of dynamic is what I thought I needed in order to be redeemed. So I want to unpack this for you because very likely when if you're watching this, you are also moving through life, encountering different challenges, different circumstances that cause you to feel like life is happening to you, that there are things there. And even if you have a spiritual approach to this, you are still thinking about, well, how do I manifest that away? How do I revise it? How do I transmute it? Right? And you are thinking about this in a way that still suggests that something out there is causing something in here. And so you want to use the in here then to change the out there. But even that is a subtle form of victimhood because, as I'll share with you as this conversation unfolds, we have never, not even once for one instant, been victims of anything except our own mind, except the imagination that has been there in service of fear, projecting and showing us these images that seemingly say, watch out, just watch out for this. And if you were to watch out for this, then you'd be safe. And so, this voice, this flood of images and words and memories comes through as if it were a protector. And it seems to be there to protect you, to hold you, to make sure that you don't make a wrong step. And so, in its expression, it begins to show you the enemies that are all around you. It begins to collect evidence of various traits and moments and memories that all get stitched together to form what seems to be a coherent image that only proves to you that you are right. But how? You are right in being a victim to the external world of circumstance. So, for a long time, as I was journeying through my own story, right? We all have a story. We all are an avatar in a script, a movie, a story, whatever we want to call it. So as I was moving through this experience, I had this felt sense that always my perspective is the correct one. And the perspectives out there may also be correct in their own right. Here comes in the spiritual ego. But yet, they are in their own world, I'm in my own world, and this sense that I have about who I am is the true sense about the evaluation of this avatar, this expression of myself, Boris. So whenever criticism or blame or accusation or something like this would come in, and I would feel a sense of, oh, but that's not true. Yeah. And yet, instead of really knowing that's not true from the position and the center of our true self, in which we know that actually none of the appearances are true, I had this sense that I had to prove that it's not true, justify that it's not true. So the mind went hard to work, accumulating evidence of how I am good and innocent, accumulating evidence of how this other, whoever might be the accuser, the blamer, or whoever feels like they are being victimized by me. Oh, I had to be able to see and categorize and accumulate the evidence that actually it was them. It was them who was responsible. It was them who was being um, the perpetrator of pain and suffering. And this story has gone on for years. Even amidst all of my spiritual insights and practices and revelations, still, this one element eluded me. The fact that every bit of suffering, lack, limitation, fear was coming to me not from any external circumstance, person, word, conversation, accusation, whatever it might be. It was always coming from here. It was always coming from my own imagination. If we could really truly know this, would we argue with another person? Would we try to prove to them who we are or who we are not, defending ourselves, trying to accuse them and saying, wait, how dare you attack me? We wouldn't be doing any of that. And the reason why we wouldn't be doing any of that is the same reason that, let's say you see a little boy or girl, like a little toddler, and maybe they grab something like a knife or um, a stick out of the fire with fire on it, and you rush over there, you grab that, you take it away in the name of their safety, and they accuse you. They are absolutely furious with you. How dare you limit their freedom? How dare you, right? But in those moments, what do you feel? You don't feel defensiveness, do you? Right? You don't feel, oh, my innocence is being challenged by this little child. No, you understand that they are experiencing the world in a particular perspective, and that perspective does not define you in any way. It doesn't take anything away from you. And in your heart, in your clear, lucid awareness, you know that you didn't do anything wrong, that you, in fact, did what life had called you to do. And it was perfect and it was right for that moment, even if it had upset the little boy or girl. So if we can see that in these circumstances and we don't take it personally, then what about the rest of life? We see the innocence of the child, but we forget the innocence that is still alive and luminous in every single being. So, unless we come to this true realization, the responsibility for what we see, and come to recognize that innocence, which then removes this whole sense of taking everything personally and feeling like you need to defend or fix or manipulate or change. And instead, you see, wow, wind moving through the trees, birds singing their song, and people speaking their words based on the automatic plugged in expression of whatever their storyline is, whatever their character is meant to say, that character is delivering those lines. Nothing there is in any way threatening. But we make up this sense that if somebody is upset with me, I am not safe. if somebody is accusing me or seeing me in a way that doesn't match who I am, doesn't feel respectful, doesn't feel affirming of the goodness, right? And the loveliness that I see in myself or that I want to see. When that experience unfolds, we can begin to hear it in the same way as we heard that child, as we hear the birds, as we hear the wind, and we radically allow life and people to be the way that they are. Why? Is it because we don't respect ourselves? We can't stand up for ourselves? Is it because we're weak? No, it's because we are awake. Just as you might notice somebody who is delirious, maybe they're quite drunk, maybe they're intoxicated in different ways. And you must have seen such people walking through some metropolitan cities, and you see somebody talking to themselves, angry. How dare you? I should have said that to you. I told you not to do. And they're talking, and there's nobody around them, and they're just talking to themselves. And yet, how many of us, if we were to be honest, could admit that this is what's happening in here? We allow that to unfold in here, and we think it's inconsequential. We think, oh, I'm just going to get this, or maybe I'll find a different person who's going to be more validating to me. All of this conversation that's unfolding is literally coloring. No, it's painting the entire picture of what we call perception. It's literally hiding and whiting out certain things that would prove to you that you're not a victim, that would prove and show to you that, oh, this person is acting out of their own hurt. It makes sense, really. If I zoom out, I can see what the scenario is and how intrinsically innocent it is, even though it may be filled with sharp words, with painful emotions. And as we begin to take responsibility for the thoughts that we have, which then become the emotions, which then become the filters of our perception, well, then we can begin to actually see a world that is innocent and friendly. And as A Course in Miracles puts it so many times, you cannot look out there and see condemnation and then expect to look within and find innocence. We must find innocence in the world. We must see it out there. We must be willing to give it. We must be willing to take responsibility, knowing that in any moment of life, what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. The glass is always half, but is it half full or is it half empty? And that part is something that only you, in the maturing of your own consciousness, can come to recognize and claim responsibility for. Nobody can thrust that responsibility on you. Nobody can convince you of it. Nobody can coerce you into it. But you, by your own choice, moment by moment, by your own choice, can lift yourself out of this seeming conundrum where you appear to be stuck in a field of painful emotions, and it's as if somebody else is holding those to you by the way that they looked at you, by the word that they said, the tone that they used, by the way they did not acknowledge you, or by the way they focused on something negative in you. All of this can feel incredibly sharp and painful. And at the same time, we have the choice within that would allow us to alchemize this sharpness, to take the sting out of this ego death. Because what is it in you that wants to defend your character? Do you think it's the infinite creator? Do you think it's your God self, true self? Or is it the small, the scared, the insecure aspect or part of ourselves that seeks to defend, to prove, to justify, that seeks validation in all of its misery? Of course, it's the latter. But if we don't take time to pause, breathe, and recognize, then we just keep going with the momentum. And that momentum keeps on pulling us into the next, into the next, into the next. And then we feed that with our words, with our thoughts, with our emotions, with our actions. We prove it. And then we have the reality, the seeming reality that we are victims of the world we see, victims of relationship and circumstance. And yet nothing could be further from the truth. We are only ever victimized by our own imagining, forgetting that we have given it birth within our own consciousness. And as we see it coming at us, we forget that we behold our own creation, children of our own will. We willed these to have room in our mind, to welcome these, to attribute truth and reality to these momentary perceptions and judgments. And so our greatest opportunity is now. Each time that you can begin to recognize that in the moment that this need seems to arise, the need to prove yourself, to defend yourself, the need to fix, change, manipulate, control, look at the essence of that need and realize that that need is truly only your need and call for source love, source light. It's our source that we are seeking. And we try to get that fulfillment through these various substitutes, various relationships, various ways in which we want the world to give us some little scrap of fulfillment. But do you know the truth? That scrap will never fulfill you. Never. No matter how many scraps you collect, you will still hunger for the source of your very being. Only that can fulfill us in truth. So I want to invite you to take a deep breath and recognize this choice in you. You can say it with me. More than I want any of my human needs fulfilled, I want source. I want God. I want truth. I hope this has served you. I'd love to hear how it resonated. Please share with me your journey in the comments below. What stood out to you from this video and what need you're willing to trade in for that true connection with Source. Take great care, and I'll see you here again.
I'm already love, already joy, already peace, already whole. I see the infinite potential flowing through my soul. God is living my life, I'm just a witness to his plan. I surrender to the flow, I let go, I let it stand.